Well, that's how it begins, folks. And then it's a show. It just starts with a song and a little bit of a video. And then you get a whole bunch of me, which is, God, what's not to love? Welcome to Saturday night, everybody. This is the Paranormal Portal, and I'm your host, Brent Thomas, as we dive into yet another 2 hours of fun-filled adventure into the worlds of the strange and unusual, which is where I live, actually, right. I got a mailing address there and everything. So, and now you do too, but welcome. And we've got a full boat of fun to go into tonight. As always, we're going to be hitting the news. We're going to be hitting the Discord question of the week. We're going to be hitting a UFO report, maybe some ghost stories, and then we're going to hit some cryptids. And we'll get to what we get to. The shows are largely unscripted. There's just some stuff that we can get into throughout the course of the show. And if we get there, great. And if we don't, that's fine too. But before we go any further, I just want to mention this. This is my magic shot. This is where the magic starts for me every day, folks. And I realize that's kind of a campy statement, but honest to God, it's very true. However, today it's going to end there because I saved it all for you guys. This is Magic Mind, and this is an incredible energy shot that promotes focus, calm energy, reducing stress, and all around good health. It's all packed full of vitamins and goodness, and things like matcha and cordyceps and lion's mane, and all of these ingredients are responsibly sourced, third-party tested, and it is incredible. And I stumbled onto this by accident when the company reached out to me. I've told this story many times, but I'll tell it again because it's just it's so cool. And they sent me a sample before we ever entered into any agreement with them, and I was absolutely blown away. It is important for me to represent products that I believe in because I want the show to have integrity, and I want to have integrity as well as its host and creator. And I had no problem getting behind Magic Mind. And it's these little convenient one-shot bottles. They come in these 15 packs. You can order a full 30-pack for a month if you wish. And you just grab one, give it a little shake, and then have a drink. I'm on the way to clarity, focus, and lowered stress. Watch this. It's magic. And I love the way they taste. I really do love the way they taste. They got a little bit of agave in there. It's all those good ingredients, but they got agave in there, and it gives it a little sweet tinge. But it just tastes healthy. And now, full disclosure, I've not lived a pillar of health in my life. However, as I get older, it's becoming much more important to me to put things in my body that I feel confident in are not Franken foods, that are not Franken chemicals. They are just natural and good for you. And I feel real confident in this product here. And I hope you guys will give it a shot. The URL to check it out, you can save up to 45%. If you go to magicmind.com, www.magicmind.com/portaljan. Portal Jan, all one word. It's portal and Jan, January Jan. So that's how they came up with the URL. So just go over there and get your order and try it out. Now, the beautiful part of this is, folks, you basically risk nothing. So if you buy it and you're like, yeah, this just isn't what I thought it was, no problem. They have 100 days, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So if you try it and you're like, yeah, I'm not into this, I don't enjoy it, it's not what I thought it was, let them know. They'll refund your money, but I just know you're going to love it. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be working with Magic Mind and to be using it every day myself. So again, I hope you guys will check it out. It does help out the podcast. It does help out the shows, but it is indeed something I believe in. So go again, www.magicmind.com/portaljan and check it out. I really appreciate it if you would. And special thanks to Magic Mind for being a part of the Paranormal Portal. So I hope you guys check it out. I think you're going to be plenty happy if you do. But hello, Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. It's great to see you. Wonderful to have you here. Brent, I can see the slash. That's because I changed the font finally, Phil. I finally changed the font. I made it a little more Halloween-y, but at least that font has a slash on it. So all I did was change the font, and boom, it was like magic, just like Magic Mind. So hey, Isaac, good to see you. Again, Blondes and Boozes are in here. I think that's Krista. Great to see you, Krista. Thank you so much for coming in. Deb Varner was in here. Phil Funk is here. John Temprin, John Stevenson, Wizard Moon. Rachel gets it right. Awesome to see you all. And I know there's more, but that's what I've caught. Barbara Mora's in here. Over on Rumble, it's Barbara Mora, and Big D is over there. Thank you guys for coming in. And let's see who else. T-Bone's here. Krista. Yeah, it is Krista. Okay, great. I did say Rachel. Excuse me. Justin Sane is in here. And I'm just going through the list as quickly as I can because we have a guest tonight. Well, he's not really a guest. He's family, but he's with us tonight as well. And I'm just talking about my good friend and tonight's co-host, kind of my Saturday co-host as it's working out. It's really been nice. But ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Tex Wesson to the show from Tex's Front Porch. How you doing, Tex? I'll give you a round of applause. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on with me. It's always fun to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And, of course, you're a friend as well, so that makes it even extra fun because we can just relax and have a chat about all this weirdness that we cover. But everything good in your Texas life?
Yeah, I can't complain. Starting to warm up. And, we're finally... I don't know if we're completely done. We still got February eking up on us, and
yeah,
we tend to get a lot of cold weather in February. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but at least it's probably going to be a little warmer than it has been. Do you guys get that really frosty crap happening down there? Because you're way in this Texas, aren't you?
Yeah, every once in a while we do. Of course, we get, we don't get a lot of snow. We get ice.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah, that's double fun. That's double fun on the bingo card right there. But, it's great to see you, brother, and thanks for agreeing to come on with me on Saturdays and go through the show. As I mentioned, we're going to be getting to the news here momentarily, and Tex and I will be throwing some news articles at you. And then we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. Special thanks to Chucky Danger. And Chucky said he's not feeling real well tonight, so he's kind of lingering in the background. But God bless you, Chucky. We love you, and thank you for all that you do for the shows. We appreciate it. I apologize. Let me know if you guys are seeing some lag. I'm getting a flag from YouTube about there's not enough data to stream, but it looks like it's good on my end. Everything looks really good, but let me know on YouTube or any of the other platforms if you notice some lag spikes. Just keep me posted on that. I'm doing my best to mitigate it as much as I can, but the old portal pewter is getting kind of tired, just like its host. If it was for Magic Mind, I'd be a lot more tired though. But yeah, we'll get into that. So Tex, you feel like you're ready for some news, brother?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to know what's been going on and what I missed.
Well, I don't know if you're in the right place to find out all of that, but
1,554.
The ghost box says 1,554, and I'm not sure what that exactly is referencing, but
that was interesting.
That is. What's 1554? Does that mean anything to any of you guys? Could be a date, but I mean, that's long before the founding of this country. So I think it would have to be some of the old world kind of date. But what is 1554? If anybody wants to look that up, I appreciate it. I just don't know. I don't know. It could be a year. You're right, Grandizer. Could be. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the news and figure out just what the hell is going on in the world. And we'll see what goes on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Paranormal Portal news. The news. I don't think anything happened up here in North Idaho in 1554. And if it did, nobody probably wrote it down.
What's the stuff that happened? So we can go over that.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. Bill Funk loves the news. How you doing, Bill Simone? Good to see you. It is time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still a little mucusy, so I apologize. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm almost completely over the cold, but I just got a little bit of that fringy stuff. So what was 1554?
According to Wikipedia, it was a common year starting on a Monday of the Julian calendar.
Huh. Okay. Maybe that's important.
Let's see. Mary of Guise became regent of Scotland in 1554.
Okay. I mean,
Elizabeth was released from the Tower of London in 1554.
I guess it was a busy year, 1554 and all.
Yeah, and Battle of Pontedera happened in 1554, and Wyatt's rebellion, this Protestant rebellion, took place in England in 1554.
I guess there's a lot going on in 1554. Well, there you go, folks. Tex brought it all to the front page here on the news, lead into the news with 1554, thanks to the ghost box, and that's the green box right below me here on the screen, and it's got a ghost radar and a word database on it. A lot of times the words are largely inconsequential or just seemingly random, but maybe there's ghosts wandering around, and if they are, they'll show up on this little circle here, and you'll see these wavy lines spiking to show the activity of the EM fields and stuff. So we'll check it out and see what the hell happens, if anything. Sometimes it sits quiet for months.
If y'all see this green light behind me, that is a K2 meter I've got on.
Oh, is that what that was?
So
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So if it starts going off.
Yeah. Well, hell, I'm going to get one of the ghost balls going here. We'll just see if anything fires off there, since we all got little detectors around us and the ghost radar. We'll see. Maybe something will pop off tonight. Somebody will stop by and say hi. If you guys see that ghost ball go off, let me know. I can't really see it most of the time because it's behind me. And unless I got the screen up and I'm looking at it, which I never do. So let me know. If you see the cat ball go off, give me an alert. Or if you notice Tex's green light start flashing, his K2 meter, let us know. Why not? We might as well be passively investigating as we're doing this, right, Tex?
Right, right.
All right.
You know, I've had some stuff going on here at the house lately, and
oh, sure.
And, yeah, you never know.
You never do know, especially, and as a side note, I've noticed this doing shows, and I've mentioned it several times, so it might be redundant to some people listening, but I've noticed that by virtue of doing these shows, it seems to accelerate the amount of things that come and check out what we're doing because we're talking about it. I think there's something to that. It creates this maybe an attraction or something. Supernatural Station podcast is in here. How you doing, Jaron? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, so we'll just keep our eye on what's going on tonight, and maybe we'll see some indication of some of the strangeness going on in either one of our locations. Or maybe it'll be in your location out there. I've had people reach out to me and say, every time I listen to your show, weird stuff happens around my house, which I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't mean that for that to happen to you guys, but if it does, my apologies. And how you doing, Jason Finch? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, brother. I agree, Brent. You are acknowledging it, giving it power. Thank you, Krista. Yeah, great minds. I think there's something to that. It's the ancient occult practices talked about something called magnetism, and it kind of gets brought up in that new Better Living series called The Secret. It's just a regurgitation of a lot of ancient wisdoms and stuff and philosophies. But the idea of magnetism is that if you want to draw something to you, you've got to magnetize yourself for it to come to you. And I think that by virtue of discussing this stuff, perhaps we are invoking that magnetism potentially. I'm an anomaly of my own. Well, I hope I'm stuck in this world for a while, Jared. But thanks. He says I'm between worlds. It sounded a little dark. I feel good for what it's worth. But throughout the course of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we utilize a lot of different sites, a lot of articles from different sites. So I can only ask you and implore you, please check out these sites. These sites are doing an incredible job, and I want to just support all of them. And I encourage you guys to visit them and give them traffic, because traffic does equal revenue, and it helps to keep the lights on and keep them going. So please help to support these sites and give them your love, if you would, please. I'm just enamored with all of them that we use, and I would hate to see them go anywhere except up and better, bigger and better. The first article we're going to get into tonight comes from the Ghosts and Hauntings, oddly enough. And I don't know, that was kind of a random grab here, but let's take a look at this. And it has to do with the singer Adele, believe it or not, Tex. You know Adele? You know that singer?
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Oh, good. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure most of you guys out there do too. I set fire to the rain, watch it burn. Sorry, that was my Adele. Let's get into this article, though. It's from unexplained-mysteries.com, an incredible site. Please visit it and give them your love. Adele's former home unsellable because she said it was haunted. That's from the Ghost and Hauntings section of unexplained-mysteries.com. What does it say? Well, let's get into it now. Sometimes even star power isn't enough to sell a house that has a paranormal reputation. Lock House, a sprawling Grade 2 listed mansion nestled in the West Sussex countryside, would seem to be an ideal purchase for anyone with deep enough pockets. But it was the words of one of its former inhabitants, the singer Adele, that may have doomed it to being redeveloped due to difficulties the current owner has experienced just trying to find a buyer. For some time now, the world-famous singer-songwriter has hinted that the property is haunted. And during an interview with CBS in 2012, she stated that it was quite scary. And it has also ended up being featured on lists of celebrity haunted homes. And this might seem harmless enough, but now the building has become practically unsellable because nobody seems to want to buy a house that's rumored to be haunted. God, that's so contrary to what I've heard. I've heard that haunted real estate gains a premium. Have you heard that, Tex?
Well, I know in some states you have to disclose.
Sure.
That, and I don't know. It wouldn't bother me none.
No, I don't know if the houses I move in are haunted or if I'm the haunted one, but I have activity everywhere I go. So I'm just kind of used to it, I guess. It's just kind of like, oh, it's what day is it? Saturday. Yeah, it's just Saturday. But let's keep going. It says the plan is now to convert the building into 3 separate houses and a cottage. That'll be a stupid mistake because it doesn't, if you wipe out a structure, it doesn't wipe out the energy attached to that location. But anyway, Adele blighted the property saying it is haunted. Excuse me, hold on. The home's planning statement reads, the applicant has actively tried to sell the property for about 14 years, despite the property being consistently marketed by top agents. No offers have been forthcoming. The only offer received over the years was in August 2020, but the prospectus buyer withdrew after learning about the property's supposed haunted status. Let's take a look at that. Oh, I guess that's the house behind there. Wow. That looks amazingly big, though, doesn't it? Can you see it, Tex?
Wow.
Yeah. I'd hate to have
almost
to take
as big
her
as her hair.
Yeah, she's got that 50s hair thing cooking, doesn't she? I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that, but she's a lovely lady, and God bless her for her success. That's awesome. But can you imagine mowing that yard?
For a price.
Yeah. With a really big tractor and a big price. Yeah, maybe. But a push mower? Hell no. That's amazing, though. That's pretty crazy. So I oddly enough, though, over here in the States, and I don't know, maybe it's just the States thing, but I've covered articles over the years where realtors were saying, yeah, it used to be where you almost couldn't sell a haunted house, but surprisingly enough, that more currently it's become a premium price on these places because they're haunted.
Right.
I think that's a lot of people are interested in it, but I don't know what kind of activity she's got. Maybe it's really, really dark and creepy. Who the hell knows? But, I imagine an estate that size probably has quite a colored history, and I don't mean that to be a racial statement. I just mean with different kinds of histories.
Well, and Sussex has quite the history anyway.
Oh, does it? I don't know anything about Sussex. What is Sussex history?
Well, you got all the battles that took place there, and it was constantly under fire and everything.
Oh, sure.
Sussex and Wessex and all that when they were all going at each other over there, and
right.
Of course, you had the Celtics coming over. There's a lot of stuff that went on in that area.
Sure, I'm sure that's true.
I don't know how old that house is.
And then the Roman expansion all the way up to Hadrian's Wall.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure they're seeing all kinds of incredible history. I don't know how old it is either. That's a great question, but we don't have that information. But at any rate, Adele's house is haunted, folks. So I don't know what that means, but I guess it's kind of a pain when she's trying to get rid of this house for whatever reason. Maybe she's upgrading. Would you need to upgrade if your house looked like that, though? I mean, really?
Some people, enough is never enough, right?
I guess not. I guess, yeah, I mean, if you got the cash, you can buy whatever the hell you want. But I think it'd be phenomenal to own a house that big. It's just, I would hate to have to clean it. Like, I'm not dragging a vacuum through that much real estate. There's no
I can't
way.
understand. And I know a lot of these people with all this kind of money, which is definitely not you and me, but they buy these big places for nothing more than a tax write-off.
Sure.
Because if they don't spend their money, they get penalized for it.
Yeah, that could be. That could very well be. And it is an investment that should appreciate, but it doesn't sound like that worked out real well for her. Unless she's asking a lot more than what she bought it for. That could be as well.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Yeah, I can only imagine the price tag on it.
Yeah. What did it say? I don't even think it said, did it? No, it doesn't even tell us the ballpark she's looking for, but I'll bet you could probably look it up and find out. I mean, somebody
Probably.
could. Yeah, I mean, not that I'm that interested, but it is curious.
Maybe I'll buy it.
Yeah, just, cash in your 401k and just go ahead and pick up a mansion over in Sussex. That sounds like the way to go. Hell, you'd have a ton of activity. I mean, you could just buy that and wire it with cameras and just do a 24/7 investigation. I'm thinking it's an investment. Maybe that's the new portal house.
There you go. Maybe a bunch of us, like the Island Misfit Toys, which you're a part of now, maybe we should all pool our resources and try to.
I'm not sure that our resources could even buy a lawnmower capable of cutting that grass, honestly.
Yeah.
No offense, but
either.
I know the portal pockets aren't that deep. God bless it. But anyway, there's the first article. We got more, though, folks. It's the lawn that's the deterrent, Barbara says. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Limited buyers, Rachel says, 1%ers probably. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you got a really limited real estate market just on the price point alone. It's not like it's going to appeal to much of anybody except for this, like you said, 1% of people that could actually make that work. So that's a pretty good way to live, I guess, probably. Or it could be. Not that money solves your problems. If you're a dick whether you're broke or whether you're rich. But if you're a nice person, you could have a lot of fun. All right, well, here we go with the next one. In the news, ladies and gentlemen, this is unexplained-mysteries.com, the UFO phenomena. Tim Burchett, I think he's who is he? Knox County, Tennessee. Okay. Underwater UFO moved at hundreds of miles per hour, he says. So that's, as far as water going things that we can make, we can't do that yet. We can hardly do that with things that go on top of the water. So it definitely sounds like something that's not ours. But let's check this out. Something anomalous is thought to be frequenting our oceans, and we still have no idea exactly what it could be. While unidentified aerial vehicles have been getting a lot of press in recent years, U.S. Navy witnesses have also reported another adjacent phenomena, underwater aerial vehicles. That doesn't work, though, does it? Underwater aerial vehicles? They're not aerial because they're underwater, right?
Makes them amphibious, don't it?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Aquatic vehicle maybe would be better. Anyway, that seemed capable of traveling at immense speeds and that can sometimes even transition into the air and vice versa. So yeah, I guess amphibious would probably be better. Speaking in an interview recently with former Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, Republican Tim Burchett, who has long maintained that the U.S. government is withholding information on UFOs and alien visitors, described something that a U.S. Navy admiral had allegedly told him. And they tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater. As large as a football field underwater, he said. Yeah, that's definitely not ours. This was a documented case, and I have an admiral telling me this stuff. And despite the implications of such a sighting, however, Burchett isn't too worried. Excuse me, I'm just coughing like crazy. Sorry about that. I'm not worried about alien visitors harming me, he said. I mean, with that capabilities, they would have barbecued us a long time ago. I really tend to believe that too. It's like, why would they keep waiting until we have bigger sticks to, hit back with? I mean, with that capabilities, they would have barbecued us a long time ago. I already read that. I read it again for effect, maybe. Or it was an accident, one of the two. Officially, the Pentagon, which has been investigating UFOs for years, does not acknowledge the existence of alien visitors. Well, yeah, they don't, yeah. Last year, a formal report in the phenomena concluded that there was no concrete evidence that most UFO sightings have conventional explanations. Nonetheless, there are many, including some inside the U.S. government, who remain adamant that there's a lot more to the subject than officials are letting on. I agree. I think we can all be pretty confident in that. Is that him? Is that what he looks like? Or was this him? I guess it's the same guy. He looks older in the second picture, though.
Right?
Yeah. So, anyway, UFO moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater. It's the size of a football field, so that's a huge thing. I think football fields are like, they're 100 yards plus whatever the end zones are.
100 yards, about 50 yards.
Yeah, and then 50 yards wide, right?
What?
Isn't that what they are? Wide is 50?
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, that's a big piece of technology. And then to be moving at 100 miles an hour or better, hundreds of miles an hour underwater, that's like a commercial airliner at that point, except bigger. So I don't know. There's no question these things are here. But there you go. That's from the UFO files. Now you've heard it. It's kind of nice to know that there's some adherents and believers in the official governing bodies that are, at least interested in finding answers to this stuff, much like the rest of us schmucks out here. But I still don't hold my breath that we'll ever hear anything of merit regarding this. What do you think, Tex?
Well, I think we already have. And it's like I've said before, if they're investing time and money, I mean, this is something that they have to answer to the taxpayers for, doing these investigations, having these congressional meetings and everything.
Yeah.
And they're not getting any pushback on having them.
Right.
They're getting pushback not admitting, because there's a lot of us out here that already know the answer. We just want them to come off of it. And it seems like to me that if they're devoting this kind of resources to it, you've got admirals talking about this. You've got Republican and Democrat, representatives talking about this stuff. I don't understand why they just don't go, well, yeah, But I was thinking about this, the craft itself and the speed it's moving underwater.
Yeah.
It would have to be traveling at one or two things has to be happening here. It has to be traveling at such a depth that it's not disturbing the surface, or it's some kind of technology that allows them not to displace as much water.
Right.
Because if that was anywhere near the surface,
right,
the whirlpools and wake that would be left behind.
Yeah. No, there's you're absolutely right. I'm pretty confident that whether above the water or below it, that they're utilizing the same principles, and I think it's basically like a warp field, that's been discussed since sci-fi days. But now they've mathematically shown that there is a formula, and it's an equation that can work. We just haven't tapped the energy needs to make it happen. But essentially, all that would mean is that you're basically isolating yourself from the reality around you. You're in your own bubble of reality that's separate. And so you can move, and you're not really displacing air. It's kind of just warping around you. And much the same for water, because, as fast as some of these things are going through the air, I mean, even the drag that would be created, and the vacuum that would be created, and all of the aerodynamic forces that would be created by moving an object at that speed, at those angles and stuff, would be astronomical. But for some reason, they don't seem to be affected by the gravity and the inertia and all of these things. So I think they have a technology just to create a reality bubble of their own, and it's existing within our sphere of influence, and oftentimes visible. but that they can just move through the fabric of our reality without even, you wouldn't even move a blade of grass because it's separate somehow. That's my theory. I don't know what, I can't quantify that by any measure, but it just seems to make sense. So,
well, it's much, and we hear this a lot with the encounters, yours included, that these things were huge, but they made no sound.
oh yeah, yeah,
They kicked up no dust. They didn't do
Right.
any of these things.
yes,
So they're just there.
right. And I mean,
And
what is sound? It's a vibration. So they're isolating themselves from the vibrating everything around them. So yeah, good point. Fair enough.
and you don't ever hear of when these jet fighters encounter these things. One thing that you never hear is reports of a jet wash or something like
Right.
that
Yep.
messing with them. You hear the instruments going crazy, but you don't hear about any kind of a jet wash.
Right. Yeah. And I think the instruments going crazy has more to do with the energetic field that is encompassing these things. So yeah, I think the fabric of my reality is a cotton blend. Eric Fry says, "Well, very well. Mine's more polyester, but I'm envious of yours." So, but there you go. Great thoughts. I think that these are some great points, and believe what you will, folks. We don't pretend to know anything, but we're just throwing around ideas because we got microphones. You get to hear those. So, we got one more article we're going to go through tonight. Are you ready, Tex? One last one.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, do I want this one or this one? This is the one I want, I think. Let me make sure this one isn't too long. No, this one sounds kind of cool. I don't know what this one is. Again, I pull these based on the headlines. I don't pre-read anything, so I don't know what the hell I'm going to be reading until I start reading it. So it's all brand new to all of us, including me. But let's check out this one. This one, again, is from unexplained-mysteries.com from the Archaeology and History Files, which is kind of neat. I like these interesting ones, but it's got a cool title. So let's check it out. This 200-year-old witch's bottle contains something surprising. I'm not really sure what a witch's bottle is, folks. I know I've heard the term before, but for the life of me, I can't remember what that is. But anyway, let's check it out. The bottle was analyzed at a British university after being discovered during excavations at a building site. Unearthed by workers who had been digging trenches at a construction site on the Seaview Street, Cleethorpus, I don't know how to say this word for sure. I'm sure I'm brutalizing it, and my apologies to anybody that might know how to say this right. But we're going with Cleethorpus. Last year, this curious bottle exhibits a rather distinctive iridescence of blue and green. At the time, builders had assumed that it was an old bottle of rum that had actually planned to pop it open and sample its contents, which would have been a bad idea as it turns out. Instead, it ended up in the hands of University of Lincoln student Zara Yeats, who used a multispectral imager, a type of scanner typically used in police forensics, to analyze the contents. And it turned out that it wasn't rum inside the bottle, it was urine. Or is it this one?
All right.
Yeah, good thing they didn't take a pull of that. All right, guys, you're going to pass the bottle. Oh, God. All right, let's see what's going on. Thankfully, yeah, it was urine. Thankfully, the project manager was on site and recognized the significance of the object, said Yeats, but we have discovered that it's actually urine, not alcohol. So it's a good job the manager stepped in to stop them. And it's believed that the bottle was most likely made around 200 years ago. I know what modern urine smells like. I don't know what 200-year-old urine would smell like, but I'm betting that's a lot less fun. All right. And it is, in fact, very rare to find one of this particular style and age fully intact. Exactly why a bottle of urine was buried at the site remains unclear, although one possibility is that it was a witch's bottle designed to protect the property from evil.
Maybe you ought to put it back.
Maybe we should send this to Adele and she can just be in a bunch of bottles and bury them around her house and everything will be fine. It's also possible that a sailor put it there as a way to ensure a safe voyage. either way, you definitely wouldn't want to take a swig of what's inside. 200-year-old urine, Tex. I'm just wondering if it wasn't some dude on a horse like, I'm really wasted. I don't want to get down and try to deal with this. I'm gonna just use the bottle, and corked it off and threw it into a ditch or something. I don't know. Witches stew, SoCal says. Oh, yeah. I got an old story.
Makes you wonder why somebody would save a bottle of urine. I mean, there's got to be something to it.
I'm sure it's a talisman of some kind. I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing, but that is absolutely disturbing. I mean, it might not even be human urine. It could be like urine from the solstice calf or something. We don't know. And maybe that's a ward against dark things. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but I got a story for you, Tex, and this one's kind of a good one. This one always cracks me up. So are you ready for it?
Sure.
So I knew a guy I worked with who was an incredible academic guy, but he was involved with a lot of cultural programs and stuff, and he traveled all over the world at one point. The guy was great. His name was Tim. And he was telling me the story of this one time he was in, I think he was in Nepal visiting this incredible shaman friend of his. And they were hanging out, and he said, oh, well, there's this talk going on at the university. And apparently they were going to be showing all these artifacts that they'd uncovered from the ancient times. And, and they were like, they decided to go together and check this out. So they're watching this presentation, and they're going into the different tools and things they found. And then they found this old, like curvy, one of those horns, kind of like a curled horn that goes to a point. And it's a natural thing. I mean, it's from some animal that's still over there. And, but they were just thinking, yes, we believe that this was used as an incredible horn. And the guy, the presenter put it up to his mouth. He's like, blowing into it, making all this sound. And then his shaman friend raised his hand, and the guy's like, yes, sir, you have a question. He goes, well, I'm a traditional shaman, and I was trained and I've been doing this for decades. And I'm going to tell you, we actually still use those. And those are meant to be portable urinals for when we're on horseback. So that guy was sitting there basically on a urinal. And I guess he just turned pale as he was standing there. But it's kind of funny how people insert their own definitions and stuff, and then it was like,
that's great.
Yeah, you couldn't have been more wrong, Mr. Academic. You're an idiot. So there you go. Like hundreds of years of piss, and he's there blowing it like a horn. So that's a great story. I just died laughing when he told me that, and that's kind of fits though. So there you go. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, this has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal News. I hope you guys learned something, had a good time, and maybe a good laugh or two. Anyway, I usually just pass the bottle, SoCal says. All right.
I did find out a little bit about the whole urine bottle thing.
Oh, please. Yeah, tell us.
Historically, people bottled urine primarily for superstitious reasons, believing it could ward off evil spirits or witches. Often referred to as witch bottles. These bottles would be filled with urine, sometimes other personal items like hair or nail clippings, and placed in or around a home as a protective charm against witchcraft.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then I guess the topic and the titling was accurate then historically.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that. I mean, there's so many folklore ideas and superstitions like that. I know that a lot of times in old houses they would wall up a shoe in the wall, and the shoe, just one shoe, like a left shoe. And if you're ever pulling apart your wall and you find the left shoe, you're supposed to leave it there because that was put there as a ward against evil in a home. That you don't remove the shoe because they were warding against something, and you might be letting it in by pulling the shoe. So
as long as there's not a foot in the shoe.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as there's no skeletal foot attached to it, it should be fine to just leave it there. But yeah, that was a neat thing. Another thing is people burying like mummified cats under their foundation. That was another practice to ward against evil. coming into a space. So those are two that I know of. I know there's more. The old witch sigils, they're like a circle. They almost look like the flower of life. And those were put up to ward against evil as well. But yeah, I guess why not bottles of piss while you're at it? Everybody can fill up one of those, I think, eventually. But there you have it. We all learned something new today, and you're welcome. So let's get back to the rest of the show. We're going to get to the Discord question of the week. Let's get to that now. Yes, sir. Naysay, we're on Twitter Spaces. You got it. Streaming live on Twitter, on YouTube, on Rumble, and on Twitch. We're all over the place. All right. Well, there we go. That was the news, and I don't know about you, Tex, but I feel good about all that. I feel like it was a good,
yes, absolutely,
good blend of weird stories and interesting stories. Everybody dance. Eric Fry says, Grandizer wants to do some disco. When Brent tells you to boogie, get down. Well, yeah. I'm not even sure what to say that, but you got it. I'm like the John Travolta up in here. We are going to get to the Discord question of the week now, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, Tex. Thank you for getting down for us. I appreciate it. But it's time for this, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Discord question of the week, everybody, and we're going to get to the Discord. Now, the Paranormal Portal has a Discord. Rachel, you are so great. She's already ahead of the game. She posted it in the YouTube chat. I'm going to also post it over in Rumble. Let me do this quickly. Copy, and where is it? There it is. Rumble. Put it over here. Justin Gooder just popped in over there, or popped in, and I'm just seeing it now. Good to see you, Justin. Great to see you. He's got another commitment for a bit, but he'll be here soon. God bless you, sir. All right, so we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. We have a Discord server, and one of the things that we do over there, and special thanks to Chucky Danger for keeping this going and keeping it active and coming up with amazing questions to ask everybody, is the Discord question of the week. And all that is one of the threads in our Discord server. We'll take a look at the Discord right now. It's right here, folks. This is a Paranormal Portal Discord server, and as you can see, there's always conversations going on. Sinfully Wicked, saying hello to Steel City Stacker. Good to see you. And Alco came in today at just this afternoon. Good to see you, Alco. Thank you for coming in and being a part of the Discord question of the week, or at least the Discord. There's all kinds of discussion threads along the left margin. You can see going up and down. Just click on one of them, whatever you're interested in. Like if you're interested in ghosts, click there and use your the mouse wheel to go up and down and check out all of the postings. And there's literally hundreds of postings in every one of these threads. Our community is just wonderful, and they've been at it. But what we're looking for today is the questions of the week, and that's right here on the left. It says questions of the week. And SoCal Squatcher is currently typing, so let's see what's going on. This is a question Chucky asked on the 14th. I had to skip last Saturday's show because I was sick, so this is the question from last week. But we are going to get into that now. Again, thank you, Chucky. I hope you're feeling better, brother, and I appreciate all your work. So the question this week from Chucky Danger is, the company Colossal Biosciences has been working and developing on de-extinction projects in hopes of correcting some of humanity's past mistakes. Their headline project is genetically modifying a woolly mammoth and have it to be born from a modern elephant mother. Other projects include the dodo bird and the Tasmanian tiger, and do you think projects like these are ethical, or is mankind going to create a Jurassic Park event? That's a great question. Fascinating, actually. So, coming in first, ZX81V2 says, and then there's the effects on the food chains, recreating something small and something that ain't going to kill you. Yeah, well, that's always true. I mean, it's never just one thing. When you're introducing anything, you are impacting the entire, ecosphere of an area by introducing things. That's why we have Asian carp all over the U.S. rivers and stuff now, and all kinds of other things that we didn't plan on being here, and there's no natural predators to them, and they just explode in populations and cause incredible damage to ecosystems. So that is a consideration. Good point. Josh, go ahead. Sorry, Tex.
I was just going to say, well, you can use Florida for an example.
Okay.
They've got, all kinds of these invasive species that's been cut loose over there.
Sure.
And they're having a hard time dealing with them. But the dodo and the Tasmanian tiger are something that we as humans made it extinct.
Sure.
Okay. By overhunting. The whole mammoth thing, I don't know about that. I mean, they kind of had their shot, and to steal a line from Goldblum,
Yeah.
it's natural selection. They had their shot, As much as I would love to see one,
Sure.
it's not going to be a true mammoth.
Well, I mean, I think they've got the entire genetic sequence now. It's not like
well, maybe it will be. I guess they'll just implant the embryo again.
Yeah. So they'll just override an existing elephant embryo with the mammoth DNA and then insert it in the uterus or however that's done. But but you raise a good point. I do think with the mammoth, people might have helped them along because one of the ancient hunting techniques was to run entire herds of them over cliffs, and then
so
it's like, are you sure you need that many? I'm not sure you did, but yeah. So I mean, maybe it was helped along. But you're right; they did disappear of their own accord. There was, I think, some of the last holdouts were possibly in Russia, on this one isolated island somewhere. And
unless you believe the rumors from Canada
that they're still around. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Supposedly there were reports in Canada that they still see them.
I think that's wonderful. I love those ideas, and the same is true for Tasmanian tigers in Australia, and I don't know about New Zealand, but in Tasmania and such, that there's still reports of people coming across them, and I think that's wonderful. I love the idea that these things are still out there. I really do. I think that's amazing. But I gotta admit it, and it's stupid, and I know it's stupid to say this, but I'd love to be able to go to see what a Diplodocus looks like in person. I'd like to see.
Oh, I would too.
I mean, that would just be mesmerizing to just have a window. But you're right. In those cases, there isn't a complete genetic code, and whatever we got, whatever could be manufactured or created, would not be absolutely true to the original. But it would still be an incredible experience to be like looking up at something that's like 36, feet tall, and it's hundreds of tons of animal. It's like, wow, that's a lot of meat. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, there's the nightmare stories, and the same is true for AI or any other scientific advance. It's like,
oh, absolutely.
If we do this, it's gonna wreck the world and take over, and maybe it will. I don't know. I've certainly heard a lot of the cautionary tales. Like Wes says in the chat, he says we'll reach AI singularity in the next 5 years. Oh, thank you, T-Bone. I'll give you a pause in a second. My great grandson John Connor Germer will start a resistance to end it. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate that. And thank you, T-Bone.
I don't know.
Sorry, hold on a sec. Okay, what were you gonna say?
I'm still getting used to you having that.
Oh, the sound effects.
We're not fancy like that.
Okay, it's just a bunch of preloaded buttons on my board when I got it, and I just have fun with them. But yeah, I think that's funny. Well, thanks, Wes. Appreciate that, and thank your grandson for us. So that's.
Well, I got to tell you, out of everything out there, the AI really scares me the most, I think.
Yeah, that's the one that, when it can outthink you. I mean, the one thing we have over the natural world around us is our ability to problem solve our way out of a lot of problems, and create solutions. But if you're competing against something that can think, maybe like 40 quadrillion times faster than collective human consciousness. It's like, yeah, now we're talking like quantum computing. It's like, oh, it's, if it decides we are a problem, it's game over. I don't think we'll do anything. Mammoths are the least of your problems. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think it'd still be cool to see a mammoth, though. That would be amazing. But let's continue on with the comments here. Josh Casto says, well, I do love me a Tasmanian tiger, but I do say let nature take its course. Whether we are killed them or not, there's a reason for everything. That's not a bad take, actually. It's like, does everything happen for a reason? And do we just honor that it happened that way because it should have or was meant to? Is there potentially a divine consciousness steering this? Or are we just a bunch of, wild idiots down here creating havoc and wrecking everything? Probably a little both. But anyway, what do you think of that, Tex?
I think an argument can be posed for either side.
Yeah.
Was it our involvement, and was it? But I mean, if we take that approach, my worry is if we take that approach, it doesn't matter what we make extinct. It doesn't matter what we kill. It doesn't matter if we deforest the whole planet. It doesn't matter. It's happening for a reason.
Right.
If we take that approach, that's scary.
Yeah.
Because
you're right. I agree.
If we hunt something to extinction and are able to replace it, because look what happened when we had the bounty on the wolves.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we have to thin the deer herds. We have to thin the bison herds. We have to do this. You take a predator out.
Yeah.
You take anything out of an ecological system, and you disrupt it.
Yep. Yeah.
So maybe we're just trying, in my mind, we're just trying to fix what we screwed up.
Sure. And yep, you're right. And I think you're right. I think even if you look at the, some people like to use the like in terms of Christianity, like the biblical reference. Well, the Lord gave us dominion over the earth. Well, I think the Lord maybe put us in charge of this, but it's like when you let a babysitter take over your house, that doesn't mean you expect them to throw a party and trash the furniture and go through the liquor cabinet and all that stuff. It's like, no, you want them to take care of it and honor what you're entrusting them with. So it's like, yes. That's probably a bad take, just to say, well, we have dominion. I'll do what the hell I want. It's like, no, you're probably not going to come back for more babysitting. JC comes in next and says, I think I find it all a bit disturbing, but if they did build Jurassic Park, you would find me buying a ticket. So not sure what was more disturbing, them or me. I think you're right, JC. I think I'd be lining up too if I could, for sure. All right, here we go. Annie Manuel's got a big take here. So we're going to get into that now. God, I wish I'd get rid of this last bit of this cold. Is it going to create a runaway Jurassic Park? No, that's fiction. And runaway apex predators? Rewilding is a complex process, and it's contingent upon a sufficient surviving biome to support the reintroduced species. Mammoth need a type of Arctic prairie that only exists on a few mountainsides now. Elephants need a lot of food. I don't think the mammoth is viable for those reasons. Then you would have to keep it in captivity to keep it fed and safe from ivory poachers. Captivity is cruel for elephants. They need a herd and lots of movements. And as for the dodo and Tasmanian tiger, the dodo is viable because its biome exists and it's not a predator antagonizing humans with livestock populations. The latter is an issue with bringing back the Tasmanian tiger, and I'm skeptical of their survival due to predation upon livestock. I don't know that were they known to attack livestock? I didn't know that.
Do not know.
I don't know either. That, and they have to compete with dingoes in their mainland. Yeah, they would be outcompeted by dingoes now. There's no question that they couldn't live in the same regions. Dingoes would definitely outcompete Tasmanian tigers because they're marsupial. But anyway, they just couldn't compete. I'm skeptical of their survival due to predation upon livestock. they would be viable, but probably surreptitiously hunted down. It's cruel to bring back an animal only have that done to it in fear and bloodshed. While I'm hugely in favor of rewilding, it has to be done on a case-by-case basis. Each animal has its own ecological niche. Otherwise, it's an exhibit which defeats the purpose of bringing it back. I think money would be better expended on species that are critically endangered and that have viable future if there's sufficient genetic variability and technology. Put the technology to that use. Great takes. Great thoughts. Any reflections on that one, Tex?
Well, I agree with the whole. We got species that are endangered now that I think we should focus on before we start focusing on this other stuff.
Sure.
Because, I mean, look what we did to the whale population.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
That's just one, and I don't know that we'll ever come back from that.
Right.
The elephant population. There's a whole lot of. You could go down. It's just a laundry list. And unfortunately, humans are like locusts.
Yeah, that's true. The one thing we don't seem to be real concerned about is our own overpopulation in a lot of cases. Although it looks like we're actually heading into a trend of underpopulation where we're going to be in big trouble now. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about.
I'll make it easier for AI to take us out anyway.
Absolutely. So, Annie Manul, great thoughts. Everybody, great thoughts so far. We got the Batman coming in next, and he says, very intelligent responses from Annie. If the extinction was recent enough that the biome still exists, and that would probably be the only place that they are to be reintroduced, then okay. I agree that pack herd animals need a sufficient population for their sociological needs and genetic diversity. Regarding mammoths, we can't even protect the existing elephants and rhinos from ivory poachers until we can leave them be. Do not introduce into new biome. Remember the cane toad in Australia and the brown snake in Guam. I don't know what those references are, honestly. A cane toad in Australia and the brown snake in Guam. The one exception might be a brontosaurus, just because I always wanted a slab of those giant ribs that tipped over Fred Flintstone's car in the opening montage of the cartoon show. Yep. Yabba dabba doo. You got it. I remember that all the time. He's sliding down the brontosaurus and he's got the brontosaurus rib rack. That's a great take. I bet you that's got to be good. Wes in the chat says, the scientists never watched The Simpsons, and when they went to Australia and Bart left his bullfrog behind, it destroyed the country. Oh, is that what that cane toad is all about? Okay. I don't know. I just didn't know that was the case. That's hilarious, though. All right. 3M Farm comes in and says, I like the idea that animals man caused to go extinct, but not things that went out for other reasons. Just like reintroducing bison and wolf into the areas helps to bring back balance. Fair enough. ZX81V2 comes in and says, most of the original areas that...
Research.
It says research. The Ghost Box says research. I don't know what to make of that, Tex.
So far we got research in 1554. Well, we've already done that.
Yeah, we researched 1554. What do you want? But this is requiring research. It's kind of funny because we're talking about a very scientific topic, and then it says research. That is actually kind of relevance, surprisingly, to the conversation. Jesse Garcia, I'll read your comment in a second. Might not be the best reason, but life adapts. Reintroducing a species could wipe out a different one or more. Plus, any migration information they have intact could cause issues. Yeah, that's true. What if their genetic code would contain those old migratory patterns that they would feel this compulsion to go to, and maybe they can't anymore? We're here, leave the past where it is. This should be used to protect current living animals. Fair enough, ZX81. If worst happens, we have the stock. Noah was right. If worst happens, we have the stock. Noah was right. Fair enough. The unknown comes in next, said the ethics of de-extinction projects like those pursued by colossal biosciences are complex and controversial. On one hand, these efforts have the potential to advance scientific understanding, restore lost ecosystems, and potentially atone for humanity's role in driving certain species to extinction. And on the other hand, they raise significant ethical and practical concerns, including the risks of unintended ecological consequences and the moral implications of playing God. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yep.
Karen Alberding comes in next, says, I don't personally have a problem with it as long as it's done ethically. I worry about man playing with things like this, though, and things getting out of hand. I don't foresee a Jurassic Park type of thing ever happening, but I do think it's somewhat playing with fire. I agree. You know, again, should they? I mean, whether they can or not is always the question of science, but again, to quote Jurassic Park, should they? Should they or not is the big question. Rachel 101 comes in next, says, I don't think it would cause a Jurassic Park event. If this resulted in returning animals that were lost due to an ecosystem that benefited from their return, I think it would be worth it. Maybe in 100 years, humans will try bringing back bees from extinction or some of the fauna that keeps soil alive. And I don't think it's an overall dangerous thing to do. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are teetering on the edge of being gone that maybe a lot of these efforts, maybe they are being put into this. This is one company and maybe a couple companies or, you know, a few companies globally that are doing this. But I think there is probably a pretty active effort to retain, you know, genetic information of a lot of different species to potentially reintroduce them. But very interesting all the same. Barbara Mora comes in next and says, I think it's a mistake to create extinct animals, plants, and granted the extinct species may have helped find cures and help with living better for millions. It's still cheating, creating Franken creatures. If the Anunnaki theory is to be believed, then they engineered mankind, then it appears scientists are doing exactly what the Anunnaki had done, and bioengineering will always be a part of our world. I also reserve the right to change my point of view after reading and reevaluating what science continues to study on hundreds of subjects. Fair enough. Yeah. You don't have to, this isn't locking you into an opinion. Well, Barbara, you said this. No, we're not going to do that to you. You're welcome to adapt and evolve your opinion on anything throughout the course of your life. John T says, don't mess with Mother Nature. May bite you in the ass. These critters had their time. Fair enough. Yep. That is a valid take, right?
Did they?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I do really like the idea of dodos coming back. I think that's cool because I mean, they were just these landlocked creatures that, you know, people just came and sailors just bludgeoned them because they couldn't go anywhere, and it was food. Yeah. You know, it was like the fridge. So, it kind of makes sense.
I mean, that was. Yeah, because didn't they like exist just on one island?
Yeah, just one location. Yeah, I don't remember.
Guinea or something like that over there, or something like that.
Yeah, and they were just totally flightless. They couldn't even go anywhere. It's like they got these little stubby legs, and they weren't really fast apparently, and they just walk in with a stick and just fill the cupboards with dodo for the next part of the voyage. So yeah, that's rather unfortunate. Josh Casto comes back in. My thoughts are, if it died off, there's a reason that for that, leave it alone. But just saying, I think the Tasmanian tiger is still out there in Papua New Guinea. Maybe. LOL. Yeah, I think it might be too. We've talked to a few witnesses through the years that have seen them. One is Ken Rotman. Another one is actually Dean Harrison of Australia Yowie Research had one come right up to him. And he didn't really realize what it was until after it was gone. He went, "Oh my God, that was a Tasmanian tiger." He was looking for yowies, and he had a face to face with a Tasmanian tiger. So, that's his story. He did an interview with me, and he told that story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And what I always found funny about the whole Tasmanian tiger thing is, okay, so these things they said they were extinct. Okay, number one.
Right.
Obviously, they were not. Okay. But then to for mainstream science to recognize that, okay, they're not extinct, are footprints, some witnesses, and some blurry film.
Oh,
What else do we have that kind of evidence with?
pick up cryptid.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that, isn't there?
So why can they say, oh well, and they can't say that these large ape-like creatures never existed.
Yeah,
They've already said that. Well, Gigantopithecus, which I don't believe it's what they say it was,
mm.
but why why do they? It's arrogant. It's just straight up arrogant. When they say, well, we deem this, you know, extinct.
Sure.
This never existed. This come on.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I think that they might just learn to really avoid us at all costs, much like pretty much a lot of other things.
So this evidence is good for this creature to exist, but not this one.
Wes says, Brent, we should do an AI show so I can literally bore your audience instead of figuratively bore them from chat. Wes, you are always welcome, my brother. You just let me know when and we'll make it happen. I'd love to have you on. Let's go to SoCal Squatcher. We got 2 more left. Ethical, questionable, but I'm totally down with watching the beginning of the end. Send it. Release the beasts. It's like, okay.
Crack open the seal.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, bring it on. Somebody blow those horns and crack the seals. Let's go. I'm currently not an advocate of that, but I feel you. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit closes it out tonight and says, mammoths, interesting stuff. They might still be around. Never know. Yeah, that's what you were saying, Tex. They might still be around anyway. There's reports coming out of Russia as well of people witnessing or claiming to witness mammoths. There's one footage that is apparently from an old train that shows what looks like a mammoth out in the tundra of allegedly Russia. But it's kind of a quick clip, and there's very little background information on it, and almost none of it is verifiable. So, again, it probably goes into the hoax pile, but it's interesting. Dimensional Legend says, hello. Good to see you, Dimensional Legend. Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. Wonderful to have you here. Hope you'll subscribe and become part of the crew. That's going to wrap up the Discord questions of the week. Once again, Chucky, thank you so much, brother. Hope you're feeling better. Really appreciate you doing this and keeping us intrigued and interesting with your incredible questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Discord question of the week. That was supposed to be this. There you go. There you go, Tex. You like those questions of the week, Tex?
I do.
I think it's fascinating.
Well, they start a good conversation.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting, as hosts, we always can tell people what we think, but we don't always know where our audience is at. So I really like that we can just kind of throw out these ideas and hear where they're at. And I got to tell you, so many times they've introduced ideas to me that I never would have thought of. Like, wow, I never thought of that. And it changes how you think. I think group thinking is always awesome.
That's why I love live shows.
Yeah.
I never was a fan of doing pre-record.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. I mean, honestly, our audience is 80%, 90% of the shows. It always is just what they add and the energy they bring and all of that. And I realize it sounds like I'm doing a big ass kiss here for the audience, but honest to God, I couldn't be more sincere. You guys make this amazing. You guys make this experience awesome. So thank you all for that. And thanks for being a part of what we're doing here. I don't know what's going on with my screen here. There we go. I think that's kind of it. Okay. Now YouTube's giving me another thing. Again, let me know, guys, if there's any problems with the YouTube stream. Not that I can do a whole lot about it, but I can maybe shut some things down here if it's getting real laggy. I don't want you guys to have a laggy experience. I'm not getting any notifications from Rumble or anywhere else, just YouTube. But I gotta keep an eye on that stuff because, nobody wants to sit here and watch a page load for a bunch of time. And every once in a while you hear half a sentence of something. That sucks. Let's see. What am I doing now, Tex? What are we doing now? We're doing this.
Oh,
I'll tell
kind
you.
of trouble we're going to call it. Which pot are we going to stir?
Which pot are we going to smoke? I mean, stir.
Yeah. I heard, totally off topic, but I heard that they're going to make another, an Up in Smoke 2.
Up in smoke? Oh, really? Cheech and Chong?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I always loved Nice Dreams or whatever that one was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was hilarious. I mean, I liked Up in Smoke too, but God, that was like my teen years growing up on Cheech and Chong. Yeah, that was funny. They're still out there too. They're actually doing like THC products that you can mail order. It's pretty crazy, like these gummy things. It's awesome. You can't get them in my state though. Idaho has no time for any of that stuff. Not that I'm necessarily shopping, but I did look. It's like, oh, you can get them in it said nationwide. And I'm like, really? Because I know it's not legal here in Idaho. So I looked and it said, except Idaho in small print. So no such fun here in Idaho, apparently. Yeah, exactly. Let me do that. So it's a great place to live, but if you like to partake, if you're 420 friendly, this probably ain't your neighborhood. Just saying. All right, let's Cheech cleaned it up when he was on Nash Bridges. Yeah, well, I mean, those guys are acting. Tommy Chong, though, I think is probably pretty legitimately a little cooked. I think so. I think he might be. But Cheech Marin, yeah, he was always playing a role. Brent, you can make them at home, right? What am I making at home? What are you talking about, Freaky Geek?
Gummies, I guess.
Gummies? Oh, no. Yeah, I suppose I could. I don't know. I mean, my youth was full of that stuff. Believe me, I partaked a lot in my younger days, but I just need to be more productive now. I can't be so productive when I'm sitting back eating cookies and watching cartoons. It's not a good career choice for me personally as a show that's trying to climb and make some progress. So
I was never a participant of the herb.
No? Okay. But you do. But you like your libations.
I did drink like a fish though.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we're going to get to an article here. I'm going to look at the time. Oh, God, it's already 19 minutes after 8. I better go right to this article because we're going to be diving into... I got one from Sasquatch Chronicles to get to. One or two. No, there's 2 of them from Sasquatch Chronicles to get to. God, maybe we should get right to the cryptids because I was going to do a UFO story, but we did a few last night. And so I think I'm going to just go right to the cryptids because we only did like 1 or 2 cryptid stories last night. So, Tex, you ready for some cryptid reports?
Oh, let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the cryptids. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cryptid Corner on this episode of the Paranormal Portal, where we're going to dive into reports of creatures and beings and cryptids and all kinds of fun. So, Eric Fry. Ugh. The 80s are calling. They want their poster back.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. All right, just kidding, Eric. I love you, brother. Let's get to this. It's time for the creatures and cryptids, and we're going to head over to Sasquatch Chronicles to begin the journey because Wes has got a couple articles over there of listener emails that he received. And by God, Wes lets me use them. So love you, Wes. I'm going to take advantage of that. Let's do the Sasquatch Chronicles creature reports here. Here we go. The first one up from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Please check out his blog, guys. If you're not currently checking out, you're missing a ton of great information. But let's check it out. January 25th. I thought it was a person in a big puffy winter coat. A listener writes, I was bringing my father home to stay the weekend, and he lives in the Montrose, Virginia nursing home, and we were talking. My daughter was sleeping in the back seat, and I was driving because Dad can't. And we're right on Route 9, heading towards Poughkeepsie, I guess.
MC.
Huh? What? How do you say it? Poughkeepsie?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
All right. I don't know. I'm usually brutalizing words all the time on this show text, so I apologize. Poughkeepsie from Peekskill, and the road goes from 2 lanes to 1 about a quarter mile, and then after the lane had turned into 1. About a quarter mile after the lane had turned into 1. Okay. So we come up on this large right turn on the sides of the road, and it had been all very close tree line to the road, but in this one spot, it opens up. The tree line is cut back further towards the development. It's a very large turn in because right next door is like a yard where they have like dump trucks and other large utility vehicles just sitting there. There's a car in front of me, and they already merged to the part of the road that was the 1 lane, and I was still in it says 2 lane, TULANE, but I think it means 2WO lane. Section, but far enough back that I could see the complete escape mountain on the left side of the 2-lane road. I guess it is the name of the road, or maybe it's not, where it turns into 1 lane further up. But there was also a street light and then cut back tree line about 350 feet. And I'm talking, but I'm watching the road as I'm talking, and the car in front of me, and their brakes go on, and I thought they were stopping, so I started to slow down. And when I slowed down, it looked like somebody jumped out of their car at first. That's what I thought. I thought they slowed down enough for somebody to jump out of their car, but that's not what I was actually looking at. What I really saw when my mind finally computed it was in between the car in front of me and myself were about 500 feet from each other. I see what I thought in my mind at the time was somebody in a big puffy winter jacket with like canvas work pants on. But no, that's not what I saw at all. I was able to see this thing walk across. My whole body is filling with goosebumps as I'm saying this. This walk across the road, crossing from right to left, in between me and the car in front of me. So it was slightly illuminated by their brake lights, just the running brake lights when you're driving at night, and from the street light, it looked like a kind of dark, deep brown color. But once I put my brights on, because I realized what I was looking at, I could see it was a super dark, like the street light was kind of amber colored. So the reflection on the black fur made it kind of look like a deep chocolate color, but it was actually jet black. By the time I was able to approach where it had crossed, I only caught a glimpse of its back foot going into the tree line, and I had every hair on my body was straight up. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. The speed, the size, I mean, thinking of how big it was, and this little Toyota Camry that was in front of me. I don't know why my mind even allowed myself to think for 1 second that it was a regular person. It made the car look like a clown car, like it was huge. It crossed very close to their car, and that's why I thought it was somebody getting out of their car, because all I could see from where I was brake lights, and then 2 seconds later, somebody run across the road like it happened so fast. So I'm like, holy crap, somebody just got out of that car. Nope, not at all. That's not what happened at all. It was an amazingly beautiful, big, and I'm guessing male, and I'm only saying that because he was so huge and muscular. And yeah, that's what I saw. What do you think of that, Tex?
Doesn't surprise me. And the thing about it is, these kind of encounters.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Bobcat.
these encounters. I love these kind because they're not these one-off. I always use this as an example. Bigfoot drove off of my John Deere tractor type thing. you know.
Sure.
But it's these that these more common, I guess you could call common encounters, is where we really pull a lot of the data points from, because of the behaviors and stuff like that, and that type of thing.
But there again,
Especially when they're interacting with cars or people,
mm-hmm.
you know.
And I think that's an important takeaway, because it is it has to be a conscious interaction. Like, this wasn't just by, well, geez, I got to get across this road right now. It's like, well, just hold on 5 seconds and the cars will be gone, and then you can get across. And it would be so easy for them not to be seen, but it's like they're choosing to be seen. Like, that has to be a conscious choice. It can't be just like, oops, you got me. The lights really screwed me up. I don't think that's the case at all. I think these things are smart enough that they are making a conscious choice to be seen for whatever reason. And I can't get my head around that. It's like, why? Why did they want us to see them and yet avoid us? So aggressively avoid us. You know what I mean? It's a real contradiction, but it's interesting. So again,
it's the same like when I go out, and when I'm, why do they come into camp?
Right.
If they don't want to be seen, why do they come into camp?
Right. Right. But in that case, I can see that they're curious. It's like, obviously you're staying, and you're in their ground, their area, for whatever reason, and at least they assume it's theirs. Like, maybe that's where they are at that point in time, and so they're like, well, what the hell are they up to? Maybe that makes more sense to me. But the whole road crossing thing, it's like, God, if you just waited a few seconds, you could have crossed and nobody would have seen a thing. It would have just been like a non-event completely. But they choose. And like, when you're out in the country, and I've said this for years, like, when you're out in the country, you can hear a car coming from a mile away or better. Like, you can hear it coming. It's like, well, yeah, it's not like it's got surprised. I'm sure these things have better hearing than we do. And then, of course, seeing the lights approaching as it's dark, it's like, yeah, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
almost like playing a game or something.
Right. Yeah. It's like, like Jim King, a bear from the Bigfoot Outlaws, always said they were counting coup. In his mind, they were counting coup. It's like, they're doing it on purpose. It's like, hold my beer, watch this. Mm-hmm. And there's probably more of them watching just to see what they did, and maybe, at least that makes a little bit of sense. It's like, just maybe like a test of bravery, or maybe a rite of passage into manhood or whatever, I don't know. All you can just do is throw ideas at it, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, you didn't have to be seen at all, but you chose to be. Yeah. For whatever that means.
And I think they do screw up.
Sure.
Because I think some of them, if not all of them, really have this mentality of, if I can't see you, you can't see me.
Yeah, sure. That may be fair. Yep. Maybe they don't realize how visible they can be. I don't know. The ghost box said Bobcat, by the way. It spit out Bobcat when we were talking about the road crossing. So maybe it's correcting the story. Maybe it's like, no, that was actually a Bobcat.
Yeah.
My ghost box works for the government.
Yeah.
Speaking
disinformation.
It was not a UFO. It was swamp gas on Uranus. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog and talk about this one. Can you believe it's already 8:30? How did it get to be this fast? Ugh. All right, here we go.
Flies when you're having fun, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. I know, time flies, right? All right, here it is, January 24th. What is the date today? 25th. Yeah, it's yesterday old. I saw two of them is this one, and it said, a listener writes, I saw two what I believe were Bigfoot. The weekend of October 4th, 2024, on the meanders in McCall, Idaho. I'm not sure where that is, but it's not around here anyway. The meanders connected Payette Lake to Upper Payette Lake, and it's roughly a 3-mile stretch of slack water that is crystal clear, slow-moving, and makes for just an enjoyable time on the water in the outdoors. Well, during the summer, it's very popular with the paddleboarders, kayakers, and campers. People like the meanders, sandbars, and beaches, but during the autumn months, the campgrounds close, and the meanders are relatively empty. Well, my wife and I had reservations for a cabin on the shores of Payette Lake in Ponderosa State Park, and we had arrived early before check-in, and we're able to check into the cabin, but they let us drop off our mountain bikes. Or we were unable to check into the cabin, but they let us drop off our mountain bikes. So we decided to go to our drop-in spot on the river, unloaded our paddle boards, and we would tool around until we would check in. I didn't change it, did I? Sorry. Until we would check in. And we were out on the river for about 3 hours and only saw 4 other kayakers before my sighting. It was overcast, about 72 degrees, a little chilly, but occasionally the sun would peek through and just warm us up. And we'd paddled upriver for a good distance and were just fooling around. And I'd recently purchased a cheap GoPro knockoff and was having fun filming underwater and in the forest around us. And I'd stopped on a sandbar and my wife had stopped about 20 yards upriver from me. Well, I had the GoPro out and was just completed filming 360 degrees around me. I stopped, set the GoPro down, and looked up into the woods across from me and saw 2 figures standing in a group of trees, roughly 70 yards across the river. I know it was at least 70 yards because it was just a shooting range I was just at a shooting range participating in pistol qualifications for the place that I work. Quals were evaluated at every 25 yards, and I had the distance still ingrained in my head. I think the 70 yards is really accurate. The figures were enormous, but I don't have a reference to judge their size, but at 70 yards, they were huge. Just 2 hulking figures standing solemnly in the woods. 2 dark figures standing side by side, just staring at me. Well, I hadn't caught them mid-stride or anything. They were standing side by side, just watching me. The figure on the left was a head shorter than the right one. Their arms hung down to their sides, almost what might have been down to their knees. The details are sketchy. It was dark in the trees, but just enough sun poked through the clouds that it highlighted the prominent features of their faces, the bridge of their noses, and the brow ridges. Well, I struggled to put the description to their faces into words. They both looked like they were wearing cheap, ugly gorilla masks, crossed with what I would describe as features of a Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon man. Gorillas crossed with a really old man. They had a conical heads, no shoulders. No shoulders? Or does he mean no neck? And
probably.
Yeah, I think that was a typo there. Where their eyes would have been were lost in shadow. Very broad shoulders. Well, there you go. Yeah, so he must have been no neck. I can't say if they were covered in hair or fur. I want to say hair because if memory serves me, it was long hair, like a ghillie suit. We just stared at each other, and I don't feel like I surprised them. I feel like they let me see them. There you go, Tex. They let them see him. They just stood there like, what is this guy doing? Or maybe how judgmental parents would look at you. Seconds felt like a lifetime. And I know it was just seconds, but seriously, it felt like a lifetime. Well, I realized I had the GoPro next to me and quickly picked it up and tried to film them. And honestly, my excitement ruined my sighting, and I regret this decision every day. I thought I could catch them on film. Well, this knockoff GoPro has the power button in the front of it, not on top. And I think I pressed the top button, which is the record button. And I don't leave the power on because the battery power is just really short. I panned the camera back to the woods in front of me, and when I looked back at them, they were gone. Just empty space in the trees. No video of this was recorded. I called out to my wife, who had gotten back to her paddleboard and was paddling back up to my position. I saw them. I saw them. What? What? She said. What did you see? I saw 2 Bigfoot, I responded. And they were just standing out there watching me, right there. And at this point, I was just about to cry. The emotion I was feeling was unexplainable. I'm a 54-year-old man who has believed in Bigfoot since I was 8 years old. I just had the most perfect sighting. The sighting I had always hoped for, and I blew it trying to record them. My wife panicked. What? Where? What? I can feel them watching me. She took off. She just paddled off and left me there standing there on the sandbar. I was determined to see them. I mean, I was on the verge of tears, so emotional. And I was so excited. I had just seen not one, but two Bigfoot looking at me like I was something they were surprised to see. I shocked them that I was there. The experience was overwhelming. That's a cool experience.
It is.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I think they're pretty curious creatures, don't you, Tex?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just look at and I have to go by my own experiences. I mean, they've done stuff that doesn't add up.
Yeah.
you know, like you said, they want to be elusive, but
then like
we've had
this.
them run through camp. We've had them leave, handprints. We had to get them into a cooler. It's
Yeah, like totally contrary behavior to something that doesn't want to be discovered.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they're just more playful? Like a lot of this is playful to them, like just mischievous maybe?
I think so,
Okay.
especially with the younger ones.
Yeah.
The whole counting coup thing is not too far off from a description that I would use.
Okay.
Because what I have found is, and I learned this lesson the hard way, that when I'm out there, if I hear a twig snap or hear a snort or something like that, or if I see something, not to acknowledge it, and it seems to be. Now I'm no expert, nobody is.
Right.
Don't care what they say, but it seems that if you don't acknowledge what you hear, what you see, that they think they're getting away with something. Because I can imagine them crawling through or walking through around the campsite, and
Right.
they something breaks underneath their foot, and they're like, oh crap, and they freeze.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Because 9 times out of 10, when you're out there and you hear something like that, your first reaction is, what was that?
Right.
You know, if you can, and it's hard. Oh my gosh, it's a hard habit to break. If you can train yourself to not do that, and I still do it on occasion.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to be actively in that frame of mind to keep yourself from reacting.
Right.
But I have found that if you don't react, they tend to come a little closer because they think they got away with something. That's my train of thought anyway.
Yeah, I think it would embolden them. Like they were like, okay, we're good. Let's keep going. See what's going on. Yeah, if you can keep yourself from reacting, yeah, that might be exactly what you got to do. It's hard not to be in that adrenalized state. It's like, oh my God, they're close. I can feel them. I can hear them. They're coming.
Yeah.
And what do they want? I guess that's the big thing. It's like, what do they want? I mean, are you on the menu, or are they just curious, or I mean, you'd have to have all of these things going through your head. I've only gone out looking for them. Both times were really passively. Like I went out and investigated a structure that was found here. So great structure. It was really incredible, like a dome thing that was bent over trees and then stuff stacked and weaved into it. And I have photos of that, by the way, Tex. I don't know if I've ever showed those with you, but I'll have to send them to you.
Absolutely. I'd love to see those.
Yeah, and then the other time was when I went along. An acquaintance of mine, a friend of mine, was going to do a documentary, and one of the parts of it was going up in the mountains of the Colville Reservation area up in northern Washington State. And up in the mountains, just parked there, and I stayed in my car all night. I wasn't going to stay all night, but they talked me into it, so I stayed all night and was just like frozen. I was freezing. It's very cold, and I was wearing shorts, and I tried to use a pair of sweatpants like a blanket just to try to stay warm. And I never saw any Bigfoot either time, but interesting stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah,
If I had seen one either time. Like, as I was sleeping in my car, the one thing I was thinking of, it was like I would sleep in these little spurts, like when I could finally nod off because I was so tired. And then every time I was waking up, I'd keep my eyes closed and just say, don't let one be looking in my window at me. Don't let one be looking at my window at me.
That's what I want to happen.
You do? Oh, my God, dude. I just can't imagine What would that look like to open your eyes from coming out of a sleep and seeing a big face just inches from yours, separated by a little pane of glass? I mean, I'm going to tell you, I would fudge stripe the hell out of my driver's seat if that happened.
I when I can, whenever I can, I sleep without my rain fly on my tent,
Yeah.
and because I want that experience.
Do you?
I want something to wake me up and roll over and see this face looking in my,
Yeah. Well, fair
in my
enough.
tent.
I mean, I've only done this twice, so I mean, I'm not like a seasoned researcher for Bigfoot stuff, and I don't. I mean, that's a game for people with a lot more gumption and energy than I got for the most part. But
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I know I'm not saying it's something I couldn't do. It's just something I've not been involved with except for 2 times. I mean, I've only been invited both those times, so I haven't. Nobody locally is going, hey, I found some tracks. You want to come and help me investigate them? Because I probably would go. Just because it would be neat to try to help catalog that and look around. I've seen things in these woods. I do mushroom hunting with my missus, and I've seen things in these woods that I think that's there's no way that's natural. There's no way that was made just by things falling. But can I prove that? No. But I post pictures every once in a while on my social media, and get some pretty good reactions. But anyway. Yeah, I don't mean to go on and on about me, but I think I got to give you a lot of credit, because I don't think I don't know what I would have done if I'd woke up being frozen, already feeling like I was miserable, and then to see a big face looking at me that's really big, it's like, oh God, am I gonna die now? Is this the part where I die? So I don't know. Anyway, but I got to give you credit, because I'm fascinated with the idea that that's the experience you want. And it was the experience I was so much not wanting. I just was like, don't let it be looking in my car as I'm waking up. And I would just, squint my eyes a little bit and look around, and it was like, okay, nothing's looking in my windows. Okay.
Well, and that's what's crazy. I've had them walk around my tent, and stuff like that, and come really close, and I believe I was cheek to cheek with one at one point. But I had my rain fly on that time, so I couldn't see, which was probably why they got so close to my tent. Because I think if they can see through the tent, they can see into the tent, they're not going to get close.
Right. Yep.
So.
Fair enough. Yep. I don't know. Crazy stuff, but it's fascinating stuff at the same time. I think we're going to jump over to Phantoms and Monsters now. What do you think of that, Text?
What are we talking about? Phantoms or monsters?
Well, they're both.
What is on tap tonight?
Well, I found an article here that it kind of comes from your neck of the woods, actually, from Phantoms and Monsters. And it deals with a cryptid that I've heard before. I'm not extraordinarily familiar with it. I think it's something that kind of approximates a hyena. Just thinking of the name, but I'm not sure. But it's apparently called a Shunka Warakin. Are you familiar with that?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay. Well, this is coming from phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. Please check this out. This is Lon Stricker's site. Lon Strickler, rather. And Lon's a wonderful guy, a wonderful friend. And he posts updates to his site several times throughout the day. So check it out. Every day you're going to find so much more information. Okay, Grandizer says the Texas hyena. Fair enough. Thank you. Fair enough.
So how do you spell that real quick?
Shunka for Shunka. And then Warakin is Warak. And then like apostrophe IN. So it must be a First Nation spelling of some kind. Shunka Warakin. Okay. All right, so let's check this out. Shunka Warakin, was it seen near Laredo, Texas? Is that near you? Where's Laredo from you, Tex?
Laredo, that's South Texas. That's border.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, here we go, and please check out Lon's work. Check out his website. Check out his YouTube channel, which is Phantoms and Monsters Phantoms and Monsters Radio on YouTube, rather. So please check out what he's doing. He's got a live stream. He just live streams every Friday night, from my understanding. But it's a great chance for you to hang out with Lon and hear these things from him firsthand. He's the one that's writing them. So, It's a great source, and don't miss it. 3 young men observed a hyena-like cryptid near Laredo, Texas, in the early 1980s. And over the years, one of the witnesses firmly believes that this creature is a relict Ringodocus, or a Shunka Warakin. I received the following account. When I was about 17, my brother, a friend, and I were hunting in the wilderness behind our subdivision, just south of Laredo, Texas. The area was being developed, so we were walking through wide swaths, about 50 yards, of rough dirt that had been bulldozed through the mesquite, huisache, and palo blanco trees on the rolling hills. On either side of these swaths, which would one day be streets, were huge piles of dead trees, cacti, and grass. It was a gray day, rainy and cold, and I think it was December 1983 or January 1984. We were on our way home, walking downhill in the middle of one of these open dirt swaths, and then we saw it. At the very base of the hill, about 30 to 40 yards away, a large black canid, a dog-like creature, ran from our left to our right, leaving the tangled brush on one side and dashing into the tree pile on the other side. The way the animal moved and its shape made me think it was a hyena. However, hyenas are not black. My brother and I just watched as our friend raised his .22 caliber rifle and fired all of his ammo at the running creature. He didn't hit anything. He rarely ever did. And he was just a terrible shot and tended to use volume in place of accuracy. That's a guy that's dumping magazines out. We saw the creature for maybe 10 or 15 seconds as it loped across the opening. I never felt frightened as it never looked towards us. It was just on the move. Well, after it had passed, I turned to my brother, who must have been 12 or 13, and asked, "What did you see?" "Hyena," he said. "Yeah, me too," I said. We made our way home again, and later we continued hunting in those woods, never seeing that creature again. Well, I'd forgotten about it until I was in grad school in 2010. I was reading a story about the Shunka Warakin. A rare native cryptid a specimen had been shot in the 19th century, and its taxidermied body had been displayed in a general store for some time before being, quote-unquote, lost. The article was about how the specimen had been found, and when I saw the photo, I thought, that's what we saw. Well, I emailed the writers saying that I believed that my brother and our friend and myself were the last living people who had seen a Shunka, relating the same story as above, and I received no response. I'm native Texan. My brothers and I have been lifelong hunters with guns and bows, and we've hunted all over the state and know the animals that are in our woods. And this was not one of them. It was not a coyote, and nor was it a Mexican wolf. It wasn't a dog, and after much research, I think it may have been something like a relict Ringodocus, a hyena-like canid that existed in the Americas in the past and is believed to have gone extinct about 10,000 years ago. Well, additionally, I'm not an idiot BSer. We have plenty of those in Texas, and I possess a degree in anthropology from the University of Texas at Austin and a master's degree in rhetoric and composition from the Texas State University, San Marcos. Before that, I served as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division for a few years. And it's signed A. So there's no response from Lon, but you ever heard of that down there, Tex?
I've I've heard of that kind of creature, but I've never heard of it called that.
Okay.
But I'm fixing to make your day.
Please do.
So the museum thing that they were talking about that this thing was in.
Okay.
Is in, let me find it again, Henry's Lake, Idaho.
Okay.
It's on display. Let's see. As an example of this mysterious creature, Joseph Sherwood, a taxidermist, acquired it from Hutchins, mounted it, and put it on display in his combination general store / museum in Henry's Lake, Idaho. Sherwood named the beast Ringdocus.
Okay.
This stuffed trophy is the only piece of physical evidence and it was never examined by a qualified scientist and went missing for some time before it was rediscovered in December of 2007.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Wow.
So,
So it was up in Idaho?
yeah,
On
well, yeah,
display?
that's where it was shot in Montana, and somehow this guy bought it from this other guy and ended up being mounted and everything in his museum
Oh, wow.
in Idaho.
Wow. So there's no surviving pictures of people having seen that thing. Ah, that's too bad.
There is a picture. I've got a picture of the of what it was,
Okay.
um, and the only part to me that looks like a hyena is because it seems to be kind of tucked down like this, the rear end,
Yeah, the sloping back.
um,
Yep.
and but I don't. It's an odd looking animal. I think it's probably a hybrid of some sort.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah. I mean, it could
but
very
it's a
well
black
be.
and white photo. Um,
I wonder if,
but I'll send it to you, and you can
yeah,
take a look at it.
can you send
But
it?
you could actually, if it's in Idaho, you could get.
Uh,
I don't know where Henry's Lake is, but
Henry's Lake, um, Idaho. What should I call it? Hyena. Uh, hyena. How should I put this? Was it called the Shunka Warakin?
and Shunka Warakin or Ringodocus.
Warakin. Ringodocus. Ring. All right. Ngodocus. I guess. Okay. I think I got. Well, Shunka Warakin. Is that from blogger.com? I see there's a black and white picture of something.
I got this from uh,
Paranormal Montana.
Cryptid Wikipedia,
Cryptid.
Cryptid Wiki.
Cryptid Wiki. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a bigger picture? This one only has dinky pictures. Let me just put this.
Yeah. This is.
Yes.
Let me save this image.
Tiny image. Okay. I'm going to put this on screen so people can see it. Actually, I'm going to put a link in the chats copy. I'll put a link of this in the chats if anybody wants to learn a little more about what this story text is talking about. It looks like they got a lot of material in this article, but the pictures are just micro. It's like it's meant for cell phones only. And I'm opening it up on a computer, of course. So the link is in the chats on both Rumble and YouTube, X, Twitch. If you want to check that out, or at least YouTube and Twitch. I don't know if anything I chat goes to X or not, but we do see chats occasionally from people on X, but I don't see any. I haven't seen any tonight, but you can check out that, and it talks about the Shunka Warakin, a mystery in plain sight.
There's the big image. I just posted the link to the big image.
Okay, where'd you post it? In the chat?
In chat.
Okay, very cool.
On YouTube.
Cool. All right, let me check this out. Let me check it out. I'll see if I can open it up. You posted it?
Mm-hmm.
Where's yours? I'm seeing. Oh, Paranormal Montana Blogspot. That's mine. All right. I don't see yours. Where the hell's yours?
I just now posted. I posted again.
Yeah, I see my link that I put up there, but I don't see one from you in YouTube.
Yeah, I just now posted it again.
Oh, you know what? You may not be able to though, because you got to be like an admin or something to post links. Do you want to email it to me, and then I'll put it up on screen so everybody can see it?
Absolutely.
Tech's going to email this to me, and you guys can see what the Shunka Warakin looks like. Again, that link that I sent you guys, you can see that it's, there is small micro images of it, but they're very small. Let me know when you send it, brother, and then I'll blow it up and do it. I'll do it. I'll refresh my email every once in a while here, just to see if it pops up.
I'll just replying to the invite for the show.
That'll work. I know that email. That's the one I sent you. That's a safe way of doing it. Yeah, this would be cool. I mean, again, I think there's probably a lot of things out there in the wilds of Americas and all over the place. There it is. It came now. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is kind of like our version. Maybe it's our version of like the Tasmanian tiger. It's still out there.
Right.
You know? Let me blow this up so it's a little bigger. There it is.
It looks like a lot like a wolf to me.
It does, doesn't it? Because like hyenas don't have the tail. But that is interesting. All right, I'm going to put it on screen so you guys can see it. There's apparently the Shunka Warakin. And it does kind of look hyena-ish, though. But you're right. It kind of looks like, it almost looks like a wolf offshoot. Some ancient version of the wolf. But I don't know. That is very, very interesting. So that's what's portrayed as the Shunka Warakin. Is that apparently a picture of that taxidermied one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, according to what I can figure out. Yeah.
And it looks like it is something that's mounted and has a fake background of weeds and stuff behind it. So it looks legit. Kind of glad they're not. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were like the wolves of today. They mostly avoid people, and these things were probably intelligent enough to stay away too. But there you go, folks. That's what it looks like. And I guess that's what they saw in Laredo, Texas. So maybe they're still out there, Tex. What do you think? What are the odds? Could they still be out there?
Well, I mean, this could be what they're seeing and calling a chupacabra too.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So because that is down in, that is in the same area down there in South Texas where they supposedly shot that one that
was mounted.
And again, it was taxidermied, and the woman that owns the ranch shot it, and they did DNA test on that one, and they figured out it was a wolf hybrid.
Yes.
So
like a cross between a red wolf and something else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah. Very cool. Well, you know what else is cool? We made it through a full episode of the Paranormal Portal, and by God, I think it was a success. I think it was a success. Did you have a good time, brother?
I always do. Always do, man. I love coming on here.
The Lady Cara, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. It's great to see you. Thanks for checking out the show. Hopefully you'll get subscribed and become part of what we're doing here. Just feel free to subscribe. Not paid enough attention to tracking things. Rather, ID some new lizards, birds, and snakes. Well, she sounds like an active person. Anyway, The only thing I ID is my next purchase at the grocery store.
Right.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, brother. We had a great time. Thank you for the warm welcome. Man. You're welcome, Lady Cara. You're always welcome, and spread the word. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, there's lots of ways to support the show. One of which is just to hit the like button on your way out, if you would please. It definitely shows. It shows benefit in the YouTube algorithms, and I'm sure for Rumble and for other platforms as well. So the more attention you give these streams, the better it is for us, and we'll propagate what we're doing and help more people learn about it. Another way you can help is by copying the show links and posting them on your social media, just like, hey, you guys should check out this show. That would mean the world to me if you wouldn't mind doing that. If you could, please. I'm really wanting this to grow and to expand and to give us the opportunity to do a lot of more things like live investigations and getting out to more conferences, et cetera, et cetera. But, largely this is a labor of love. I'm doing this because I love it, but not because it's been an incredibly lucrative thing for me. But I do want to get out there and do it. Let's, get out there and meet you guys, go to the conferences. I'm going to a few this year, and I will post more about them. One of them, damn it, I think I closed it. I think I closed it by accident. But one of them is what is the conference coming up in Missouri, Tex?
Oh, the Crossing Realms Conference.
Crossing Realms Conference. If you want to learn more about that, go to the Blondes and Booze on their Facebook page, and they have information about how to get tickets, where it is, when it's going to be. It's in September, later in September of this year, and I'm going to be there. Tex is going to be there. Bigfoot Michigan Rob's going to be there, and we got several activities planned as well as a full day conference. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing event with a whole lot of people showing up. And I'd love for any of you guys that live in that region or can be there to come and say hi. I'd love to meet you guys. Tex, you're going to be there, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I am emceeing the event,
Yes.
and we have a huge list of speakers and special guests. And it's. I mean, we're having the meet and greet on Friday night, and Miguel from Sasquatch Theory is going to be speaking. While we're eating, and then after that, Chris Garitano is going to be showing his new film.
Oh, fantastic.
And then Saturday we have the conference with all the speakers, and we're going to have the guys from Haunted Garage are going to be there. They're bringing a haunted car. We're having a gallery reading after the speakers, and then Saturday night is the ghost hunt at Malvern Manor, which is
sold out.
Or no, I'm sorry, the museum. Golly, Ray County Museum, which is unfortunately all sold out. But the thing about it is, even if you can't afford to go buy a ticket, the vendors area is going to be open, free to the public, and all the speakers will have tables. All the special guests will have tables. Yep. And if you want to buy a table, we have tables available. So if you want to buy a table, get that done. And yeah, it's gonna be a great event.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I unfortunately missed that it was Squatch Fest was starting today. Or yesterday, I guess, in Kelso, Washington. And I was really planning on going over there for it, but I just totally spaced out the date. And I missed that opportunity. I wasn't going to be there as a vendor, or, not a table. Right. But I was planning on going over there and probably sleeping on Wes's couch. He didn't know that, but, I'm just saying. That was my plan. But anyway, I'm going to do my best to get out to conferences. I know there's the Utah conferences going on this fall as well in the beginning of September, so I will update you on more about that. You are not looking at Rumble. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have trouble looking at all of the different windows, unfortunately. What's going on in Rumble? Hey, Brent, look above.
Photo by M.K. Davis.
What's that? What am
I looking? New photo by M.K. Davis. Hey.
With M.K.? Yeah.
Are you still... I know you had talked about possibly going to the conference down in San Antonio.
Yes. When is that, by the way?
That is March 29th.
Oh, God, that's coming up, isn't it? Okay.
Yes, it is.
29th, the end of March. That might work out perfectly. Yeah, I'll keep you, we'll keep in touch about that one. But yeah, I haven't seen, a dog digger says, check out Duke's interview with M.K. Davis. That one was actually outside of my house. So something's outside of my house, apparently. Yeah, I'm sure that was a fascinating interview. I've not checked that out, but unfortunately, I wish I had more time to check out more of these things.
I wish me too.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many shows that I would watch regularly if I had the time and the ability to focus and just, give it the attention that they deserve. But there's a lot of great shows out there, folks. And yeah, feel free to check out Duke's show. I guess he interviewed M.K. Davis, so I'm sure it would be a marvelous discussion. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up with me. And thank you, Tex, once again, brother. It's been a pleasure. If you want to get in touch with Tex and follow what he's doing, how do they do that, Tex?
Well, you can email me at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com, or you can just come over and leave a comment or whatever on the show. On the channel at Texas Front Porch. It's TEX' Front Porch, and all of our contact information is on there. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And when do you do your live shows over there, brother?
Sure. I've been doing a lot here lately, but because I get bored at sitting around at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
But the scheduled shows are Mondays at 8 p.m. Central.
Okay.
And then I just went blank on my own shows. But
okay.
Yeah. Then we do a true crime show with me and Danielle Diva. And of course you got Danielle Diva does her show Diva Dimension, and then we do a show on Sunday nights. We do a late night show on Sunday nights that's scheduled. So those are that one starts at 10 p.m. Central.
Very cool. Well, thanks again for being here, brother. And if you guys want more information about what I'm doing, head over to paranormalportal.net. And there's a bunch of information about both the podcast and these YouTube live streams. These are not one and the same, just for the record. They are two very different shows. The podcasts are definitely more interview-based, where I interview people, experiencers, personalities, other hosts with other shows. And you can certainly check those out. I'm on season 6 of that. And we do these live streams on YouTube every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, I guess. So that's when they start, and they are 2-hour shows where we do just what we did tonight. We talk about all this weird, wonderful stuff, and hope you have a great day. I think you can head over to Michigan Rob's now. He's live, isn't he?
Yeah. I think they're still live. I'm going to jump over there.
All right. Well, if you're looking for something to do, go check out Bigfoot Michigan Rob on his channel. He is live now, and I think he started about an hour ago. So go check him out. But that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.